I just I just researched the word rub, like rub the wrong way or somebody rubbed something in your face. Have you been rubbed the right way recently? Overwhelmed by a act of generosity that was so unexpected that you thought, "Oh man, the world is going to be a much better place real soon. People are acting different." I didn't think so. Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood was Armageddon. The Mud Flood was the Armageddon. Do not let them tell you anything else unless they are willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. I've got to keep it rolling. So I got to show what I normally do is I go to this thing and it's that. It looks like I'm sharing the screen. You should be able to see that. Pictures next from the downloaded screenshots recently, very recently. Look, you're not going to believe this. When we get to it, coming out the mountain, built into the cliff. It's another thing. There's what that's that expand expanded view. That's a pipe with some bricks. There's the chimney, and that pipe is like one of the things is right up here. The New York dispensary released ads for a product called Cousins Walk, a container of pre-rolled joints that travels easily for what the company calls a secret society that meets once a year. Do you have to make it into a secret society thing, everything? Because, well, as I understand it, the people who want to smoke a little weed on Thanksgiving with their cousins, have a, hey, want to walk the dog? And I probably am for that because I don't think marijuana has been the great, detriment of evil that the 1960s portrayed it to be. That is like, well, you should just drink beer. What do you need pot for? A little bit of studying, and I think you'll see that marijuana is probably better for you. But that's not what this is about. It's going to be just one of. I did a show recently. I'm doing another show now. What is the God showed me? Let's get back to those pictures. So we got to look at the Bible study. Looks like this. I highlighted this word, and it is part of what they claim is He taught me, and it's pretty good. We'll go over this word, Proverbs 4, verse 4, I believe. So number two in their agenda of not how honeybees even happen. Let's just say how social, the only way that bees, wasps, ants, social animals make it. They have overlapping generations, multiple generations of adults live together in the same colony with the young. I thought that was important. Number one is fairly important. Cooperative brood care includes must include individuals within the group help care for offspring that are not their own. They keep an eye out for them. They're not trying to rape them. Finally, reproductive division of labor. There is a distinct separation between reproductive and non reproductive individuals, with some members specializing in reproduction while others perform tasks like foraging, defense, brood care. That's what I don't think humans would say, who's in charge of the brood care? Long term defect rates corresponding to 4.5 sigma performance rather than the actual advertised 6 sigma performance has led several commentators to express the opinion that 6 sigma is a confidence trick. But nobody wants that. Here's another confident trick. So we're talking about Hecticin. Oh, they evolved again. Then they went away, and then they evolved again. All these species had to evolve separately. That's a problem for them. That's one of their many problems. The aortic valve, pulmonary valve. This is that swastika, swastika, in with the good, out with the bad, clean the bad, use the good. So the lub-a-dub sound of a heartbeat, that came up. I was looking that up while I was in a class yesterday. Tyler Woods. That's a sundog. I loved it. And I showed this video the other day, and that guy, really a president of the United States. So I no comments that I'm sharing or unsharing. It must be sharing. Somebody would have told me. Here's the first Bible verse. It's shared. And where's that word? Is a man, O Selah, I will spare my jewels. That's what he called us, because we're looking at Malachi 3:17. They, a certain group of people, shall be mine, said the one God. In that day when I make up my treasured possession. So he says he has a group that will be mine, and he will spare them as a man spares his son. Not period. It continues, as a man spares his son who serves him. Then once more you will see the distinction, because this one who serves God and the wicked son, and those who do not serve him. So that's the verse. And when I was looking at it, I was liking it. On that one day of the horse, you will be mine. But there's no number above it again. Not that again. There's no number. So it's this word. You can see it. Let's you imagine it like a big comma in front of a 7 with a little comma and a dot on the top and then a little dot at the bottom. That's the word. That's the word they got. You know, when you click it, it won't show it. And I'm even a member here, and they shall be mine as a man, a male, spares them. He will spare them. They are considered his jewels. You will be my own possession, his own possession. We're his people, a peculiar, his own possession. I hope that encourages you. The actual word, treasured possession. A well-used word. Treasure like of gold. I like it. But it has to be, he's going to spare the ones who serves. Now, I might have had this pulled up, but I don't want to miss the chance to. So it's Numbers 4 out of 289 of they're looking like the word BAD, it's bad in our language, but this is the specific 4 times. Everyone was serving of all that might do service as the sleeping man, a working man, a laboring man, a serving man. And then in Malachi, this is all coming up to where, it's almost a requirement that he's going to spare them as a man spares the son who serves him. You've been given talent, and you have to serve the Lord. He is not going to let you be a disobedient son. Now, here's that word, ha-abed. As you can see, it does. I'm looking for that. And you see, I don't really see it there. In this word, let's look it up in Malachi, the whole bed. You can see this is not exactly the same thing. But it is, to them, it's close enough, because when you search that word, and I did, it always goes back to, to Proverbs 4, Micah 7. It's something about serving. It's going to be that word. I got it from that. But we know we're going to have to labor. You have to serve. God has given you talents. When you look up Proverbs 4 in this, you can see that that's pretty close to what we started with, what we were looking for, a comma, comma. There's an extra dot on top, but there's what you would say looks kind of like a 7 with the dot on the bottom. So it is, serve, keep the commandments. The darling, you're going to be the tender darling of a father. We're going on. It's searched. Look, here's what you're going to have to make a commitment to. It's chapter 3, it's verse 16. Then those who feared the Lord spoke with one another. It was such a small group, they could speak with one another. Our God paid attention and heard them, and the Old Testament was written before our God. And those who feared our God and esteemed his name, they shall be mine, says the Lord of hosts, in the day when he makes up his treasured possession, when he sorts out what you've built up in your heart, gold, silver, and precious stones in proportion to the talent that you've been given. Then once more, you will see the distinction between the righteous and the wicked, between one who serves God and one who does not. You want to be a treasured possession? You know how to do his will. It starts with treating your body like a temple. That Six Sigma, that came out of nowhere. It's something I used to have to study, when I was building my way up in the business world, of starting about in 1986, after a little getting out of the Army, after a little schooling, after a little bit of this and that. I was in the world. Six Sigma was a big thing in the late 80s, early 90s. Each Six Sigma followed a defined methodology, specific target values. And in the 80s and 90s, we were dedicated to customer satisfaction. Got a trademark kind of a thing on June 11th, 1991, registered Six Sigma as a trademark in 1993. The company Motorola, they used to be the king of the cell phones, poured $17 billion. That's dollars, not chicken feed. So Jack Welch, General Electric, everybody was in on it. Lean and mean. It led to what you call that just-in-time delivery. There it is right there. statistics, etymology. If you wanted before the robots scanned your resume, the people did. And if they saw Six Sigma, I know it. I studied it. I know the Williamson shipping software, SAP software. You'd get hired. You'd get hired. It was, there's their interesting Six Sigma signal. There's the 5 steps. You just do it right. They're very convinced it worked. At the end of it, though, you saw the one picture where some people, they kept doing it, and eventually they said, this isn't working. And I think if I go down to the end, they'll say it was kind of a scam. They're talking about defective parts in the millions. Bear with this. I got to go down to the end. Causal relations. Where is that? Lacks academic rigor. Six Sigma did little to change its fortunes, but you buy into it, even if it takes years for them to realize it's a confidence trick. The biggest companies in the world fall for it. We all fell for it. Polywater was another scientific controversy where people believed they found a polymerized form of water and they could do it. It took off in the popular press. Turned out it was pathological science. Somebody in Russia said they could do it. Narrow quartz capillary tubes, lower the freezing point, higher it. It was somehow misunderstood. Convert water into polywater, echoing a doomsday scenario from a Kurt Vonnegut novel. Again, everybody was into it. Nature wrote its impurities. Sorry to smash your desire. You don't like to be labeled pathological. Ooh, these people were into it, and then they had to explain why they're not into it anymore. Science can be pathologized. Pathological science. People are tricked into false results. Well, that's what we used to call it. Now we know that these lying scumbags will fake their PhDs. They will lie to confuse people, usually to support abortion or puberty blockers, if you want to go even deeper. And I mean, they had people convinced there was science that some boys are trapped in the body of a girl and their minds know they're a girl. And when they say, I'm a girl, you should go, yes, ma'am, you're a girl now. I don't know what that is between your legs, but it doesn't belong there, girl. And then again, there's pathological science that you could think, well, maybe that's this, maybe they'll wake up and think I got tricked. Now, hexagonal water, that's not. Gel water, structured water, cluster water, H3O2, a term used in a marketing scam that claims the ability to create a certain configuration of water. Wait, is this? But there is an exclusion zone in water. Although water clusters have been observed experimentally, they have a very short lifetime. Oh, so they don't understand it. They want to compare what I think might help us to polywater. Structured water. Oh, So they think, all water's the same. Like water memory. They probably don't believe that. Water memory is a purported ability of water to retain a memory. I think that water being divided from water and water all being joined together, the only thing in the Bible that is like, well, when did the water that was divided, when was it created? That's the mystery. Not everything is going to be known, but water is a big, big deal. I think that water has a memory. I think that you can speak to plants and things like that. We don't have time because this is all add on to what the Lord has showed me. It's time to study the study, the what I do every day. Now we're going to do the Bible study. That was all like wake up and add this to the show. This is out of control.
The equator, and with rich volcanic soils watered by heavy tropical rains, their natural cover is forest. Literally, it is steaming jungle.
The forest of the Philippines has been evolving since before the Philippines.
No kidding. If you're going to believe in evolving, every show that's going to show you the beauty of nature has to first run it down with the millions and billions of years ago. I just wanted you to see some, nature. $100,000 camera.
You see that? That right there, right there, that's an indication that she's gone from incubation to possibly proving.
So they've been filming that for going on 10 hours.
Skipper Laura, command over. Skipper Laura, command over.
And everybody is so excited, It's nature. They'll spend thousands to prove they got it all figured out.
Seeing that the eaglet is in trouble and not being able to do anything about it.
And then the crisis comes. The chick chokes on a bone and dies.
And that can make you feel sorry for them, but not for the aborted babies that go down So blue-billed magpies, Treaty Act, you got conservation treaties. They're like the magpies formerly followed the American bison. So when they got killed out, they had to change their food supply to cows. Magpies, they're smart. It's like, you got to be kidding me. They're smart. Now, I looked at the proposition, I don't know if this has to do with school or what, but something happened in 1994. A proposition reflected states' residents concerned about illegal immigration into the United States. Okay, so that's when all of this started about. There was a time when the migrants were welcomed, Thank you for coming to pick these things. Otherwise, our crops would be not able to take to market, and everything I've worked for is gone. But Bill Clinton did something where he's going to start putting in people in jail, protest off it, and it turned to waving the American flag. That was ridiculous. But these student protests, a lot of times those are contrived. So 1994, I think that's when it started. The mass kidnapping in 2014, students from that area in 94 about the drug war that we know now the United States was in on. It was all in collusion of organized crime. And if they have to kill a couple of classfuls of people, even if there's only one, it was the anniversary of another massacre where they steer the people in the direction they want to go around right before the year 2000, and then it just keeps going. They let it, and it was from a Ayotzinapa Rural Teachers College, a normal school. Some of them get branded as, oh, those students aren't being normal. They're activists. Well, they're going to be tamped down. There'll be rivals. People pay protection money. Jewish female presidents are elected, and then they find out, wow, you're not doing anything. The idea is for all of those presidents, all of the elections, whether it's Mexico, the United States, Peru, or Russia, is to be able to tell that group of people that are safely, for now, living in a city, you're going to be okay. We got your back. We know the drug markets, wink, wink, are out in the hitherlands, but in the big cities, we're safe. You can still get it, but we all have jobs. The cities are working, but not for long. They will not work without their 5G and their electrical grids, and then they'll start eating people. That's what the world is going for. It's not going to be made better. Now, this school was a normal school. We all have normal schools. Normal schools were trained to train teachers. They were created to train teachers. They became, because the world was going to have to be normalized and say, the whole world believes that it's not a flat earth nation with the golden age past. They started planning them right before. Norms, well, they got it figured out. And they didn't only do it in the United States. It was Europe, Germany, Finland, France, everywhere that had secret societies were on board with we must normalize. And every single one of them, what did they agree on? Jesuits proved the world is a globe because they trusted the Greeks that loved the little boys. They're turning up everywhere. People want to teach the short season because it's the only thing that makes sense.
The Nomad's expertise covers the production.
Well, it's so warm. Why wouldn't somebody, if they could afford it, pay a little extra to stay super warm? Cashmere, let's get up to speed.
Production of this exceptional wool, but there is no culture of weaving on the steppe.
So this machinery, where's all this machinery? They got to turn this cashmere into wool. They've been doing it for a couple of 100 years in the middle of frickin' nowhere.
The wool will cross China and the Himalayas to arrive at Christopher's workshops in Kathmandu in Nepal.
Kathmandu? It's so soft. Here's where it comes from.
Good to see you. You looking well? Hello. Hello. Rebecca. Hello.
Somebody visiting from the city. Special sheep in a special place to grow cashmere.
My name is Moto. I'm a breeder. I live on the outskirts of Karakorum with my wife and 2 daughters. My daughters go to school in the city. My wife and I stay here to look after the animals.
There's a market for cashmere. So this social unit of people were set up here after the reset to do it. Let's look up cashmere. Cashmere wool, very fine. Cashmere goats, pashmina goats. That's the only kind of goats that make this. They have guard hairs. Cashmere wool. Let's look that up. Let's add eBay. We'll look up cashmere wool on the eBay. We'll look up for some of what they're selling it for men. We'll have to go down to find out what they're going for. So we'll have to look up what's been sold. Let's look up the highest price, even with shipping. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot for a jacket, you know, because it's cashmere. Huh. It's new. It doesn't have tags, but it's got cashmere. And if you have an extra $3,600, you do not need a used car. You need that jacket. Cashmere. Hydroscopy is what makes cashmere so expensive. The water molecules, either absorption from the surrounding environment, is usually at normal or room temperature. You combine these different forms. Anyway, cashmere, people woke up to it in the 1880s going like, man, this stuff is really good. It keeps you more warmer. It's more better. Hair, inhibition of water, delicescence of common salt. What? Anyway, if a compound dissolves in water, then it is considered to be hydrophilic. Hydroscopic, that they readily dissolve in water they absorb. Anyway, it makes a sport coat worth $4,000. It's water. Now, there is a Tula Parish, had around 9,000 before the Great Famine. Tula, located in Ireland. Okay. There's also a Tula in Africa. There was an Operation Artichoke where they torture with impunity. They were using drugs the wrong way for psychological harassment, probably one of those techniques they thought was correct, where they could use these people. This is a real deal. The Operation Paperclip thing after the war, something in 51. If you don't believe that we're doing it, and the heads of the CIA, the OSS, as it was called then, the Eisenhowers, if they weren't into making money and Manchurian candidates, then I'm not the Salt Paco. So, was there really a Project Artichoke? There was. They were only researching methods of interrogation. Succeeded by Project MK Ultra, that is in the news today because it's no longer being denied. It's being exposed. People are suing it. There is no more. Well, you guys are only making that up. They probably didn't even have any of that. No, they did. And they would, what is that? Paper clip your eyes open and make you watch videos. They did it. They took things that don't have to be bad and made them bad, and they psychologically got thinking that everybody that takes LSD is going to act the same, instead of realizing people are different. That one drug doesn't affect everybody the same thing. Look, better sources needed, better sources needed. They claim it, they admit it. They are not going to tell you what happened, what really went on. I can't wait to show you that Tola singing wells in Africa. I thought it was interesting that the book Psychiatry in the CIA was written by Harvey Weinstein. Is he the famous producer, director of the movies? No, it's just coincidence. Psychic driving, anybody? I looked up something else, Six Sigma, so I wanted to when did that start? I guess we're going to go over it later because I looked up the rub. I was saying, what is a rub? Because I wrote something that rubbed me the wrong way. A pressure, friction to a surface, rub lotions on the hand, rub dye on a fabric, rub sleep from your eyes. I used that the other day. Rub it in somebody's face, a massage, you harp on, obliterate, slaying to kill, you rub them out, right? Rubbing elbows with the diplomats, rub somebody's nose in something. If you want to make them smell it, you rub somebody the wrong way. You are constantly being rubbed. You can rub something and make it beautiful, like bronze, if it tarnishes, and it'll look like gold again. You don't have to rub gold to make it shine. And the more you rub it, the more it wears down, so it will wear away. It's the rub. It's the rub. It's something, or I wouldn't be telling you about it. Wait, I got to reload this here. Okay. There's a toxic legacy in the CIA from Canada, and they strip you of your soul. And they did it in these old reset houses. How about that? In the 1950s and 60s, everything changed. Everything's brand new. Our parents and grandparents were either in on it or not. Now look at these people here. Look at that child. Hey, you. What are you doing all that smiling going on here? The Borana, not the Orama, the Borana Kush ethnic group. They have a zone named kind of after them. We'll look at them. They live in the middle of nowhere. I wonder how they can fairly have their water distributed. It seems like that would be a real problem. Politically, it has a system of government where the overall leader is God himself. How about that? How about that, Ethiopia, right? They've been recognized, they said, for the last 600 years. God himself. The sentence that can be equated to a supreme being knows. Second in command, who is also the supreme leader of the whole community, is referred to as a Bagada. A Bagada is the person in charge of all affairs in these community. Huh. That's a lot. That's a lot. Who are the other ones? That's a good place to start. Jumping way up. Don't get dizzy. Oh, I was showing how Wikipedia, they revised so many times, over 500 from 2025. They've made this many changes to their Wikipedia page. It would seem impossible that a Wikipedia page about the Oromo people from Africa in January alone would need so many. This last year, this website is out of control. And that's 500. They don't want to show you anymore, and it only goes back to April 18th. They are the people. Looks like I got a few pages here. I got to get back to these guys. A lot of controversy going on in the world about what should be on their webpage right now. Maybe they don't want to know. They think that the God of the universe is the Christian. They like some yummy types of food. And they can have some athletes, okay? 45 million? That's a lot. So there's two different types of people in Ethiopia. The aftermath in the 1500s, a war forced the Oromos to move north. They've lived in that region for a long time with the same clans. Let's check this out. Now it looks like we got a video here, something. Another French font?
He believes that Brigitte Macron was born a man, or born a male, rather. And that goes viral, okay? It just goes viral, gets more people speaking about it. So you can just, a lot of stuff is happening at this time. Then what we have is in very early August, we know that is when Turning Point is this remarkable, and I would assume rare, I don't know, but 35 state leaders meet to discuss Ukraine, securing the security of Ukraine. Okay. That's what they're there to do. Brigitte greets him on September 3rd. She also, again, like I said, was with the Minister of Culture. And then we have this flight that leaves from Paris. BTT leaves from Paris, and it's go time, right? This plane is now going to stay for 6 days, and then it's going to go to Wilmington, Delaware. As you guys know, it's going to stay in Wilmington, Delaware, before departing on September 11th. After,
I don't know what's going on here. It's like, who does this? Who dresses? It's like Michelle Obama. Who dresses up a man as a woman to be the first lady of a country way ahead of other things? It doesn't make sense. That's the world we live in. Oh, I looked this paper up today here. So I thought this headline was funny. I guess if you tell Grok anything, they will say Elon Musk is better at it. So if you trick it into saying, well, what about pee drinking? Oh, yeah, he can pee drink better than anybody. It was a trick. Oh, there's the Black Eye Club. You know, well, he looks kind of like a regular human there. It doesn't seem like he deserves to be a trillionaire by looking at him. But anyway, I guess Trump and J.D. Vance have announced, Sean Hannity announced this month, they like Grok. They think it's not woke as the other ones. Okay. Wow. So what else did I look up? I wanted to touch on Bob Denver this morning. That was a kind of an empty rabbit trail. I did see this, though. I showed some pictures of it.
What a crazy world we're in. And the veil's been lifting. People are starting to see it. We can get in there in a minute. I'll take you a look because there's some annihilation in there I need to look at. Oh, that's a nice cup of tea. God bless you, Eve. That you can get into the chimney, and some potholers actually got into it, and they sent a drone up that chimney. Oh, look at this, guys. I mean, look at that. And that's nothing. That's just a chimney. My camera won't even take it in. We've got stuff everywhere. We've got bricks
with a pipe coming out of it,
sticking out. We've got melt. We've got crazy pipe work.
There's a couple of these things around.
It was coming from nowhere. Look at that, guys. It's like it's everything that's around it. That's strange. We'll just make our way out now. We'll go say try to Eve, letting us take a look around. Thank you for that, Eve.
This is just somebody's private property that doesn't get tourists at all. So they're going like, hey, can we check it out? Sure, go ahead.
That was great. That
You're
was
very welcome.
Stuff. And it goes really deep, doesn't it? It goes so deep.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't go down there. We just live here. It's weird, but, you know, hey, my house is going to be on the TV. Have you ever seen this? This is where they faked the whole Ethiopic Bible thing. They got a guy that was type of a Christian, maybe, in Ethiopia. They got a book, Amda Sion 1, Pillars of Zion, supposedly from the Emperor of Ethiopia, member of they say a direct descendant of Solomon. That's what they would have you believe, because they need it. They're going to need this when they fake the Dead Sea Scrolls and put the book of Enoch in this. You know, something that, the product of Zion, they're into it. That's what Christianity is. They say they have a book. It turns out it's like they have kind of a part of a book, but the people that it props up and says it are these one of these people, Oromu. It's not. There's the other group that live in Ethiopia. That's a pendant. Hey, you, what's up? So there are real people. They're really there today. They are left over. They are that Horn of Africa thing. Ethiopia. It's going to be a thing. Ahamra. So these are the other group in Ethiopia. That's Haile Selassie. They set him up. They propped him up as, you're going to be a king, and then you'll be worshipped and martyred, and you'll be rich like your dad was rich. That's their Russian Orthodox cross, Star of David. They're confused, I guess. They believe that he could be the Lion of the tribe of Judah. The Lion of the tribe of Judah is what he called himself, because they said he was just born into it. They got that Ethiopian Coptic. No way, that couldn't be true. It's in the Dead Sea Scrolls and a book from the Amhara people. Okay. Well, I've got my doubts. I don't think so. So here's the other people here. And believe me, this is an inhospitable place to live. But if you work together, you can do it. That year, I'm saying they added the 1,000 years, and these people have been the remnant of Armageddon who must have headed for the hills and prayed that they wouldn't, and they lived. We can run and hide in the hills, and then it'll be the great white throne of judgment. Now, I just don't believe I didn't have that thing there. So I'm going to have to type in you're not going to believe these people. The guardians of the water. These are the people. Very dramatic, I know. There's a water buckets. We all have to get in line to get water. The people who guard the water have been doing it for 5 generations, great-great-grandfather, down to the guy who says, my father did it, and they do it for free. And nobody drinks in this whole desert if the water guards who work for free don't say, it's your turn. Now you go drink. Now you're done drinking. Get out of here. We got a whole line every day. They feed the water to every living thing in the desert for free. Guardians of the water. Social community. Yes, it's slow. That's a camel. Like we got all day. And even for them there, it's like inflation is taking its toll. The shrubs are growing, everything is there. So they're taking their job more seriously than ever.
marii irraa badee wanni ejjaatu mukum callaa taata. Mukii kan ka horiin sooranne illee kan wasaphas ka gora qoraatti qabu. Nami gaal qabullee gaalii marri hin qabu. Nami loon qabullee loon waan jiraatanii bisaan callaa qaban. Barii cuftidu eegiyoo jiraachuutiin rakkoo amtuu tarkanuu qabu.
So they have to have water. Thank God he provided. I hear singing. Every day these animals need water. They got to go here.
Saa halkanii kalama dhaabulee saatii guyyaa saatii shanfaa bisaan dhaqqabu. Laftii booranumaan beekamtii dhagan.
Where are they going? This guy runs it for free. And they listen to him. He's the king of the water. He has never received a penny of pay in his life.
Kulleen dhufee kadhatee akkuma kadhaatiin goskees kulleen dhuguun danda'a. Namirra dhowwanii bisaan kan armaan qabdu atiin siin kennine dhaniin yoo yakkoo maatu balleessa dhibiin qabaatiin hin qabu bisaan hin kennaniif.
At one time, this plain had 30 active wells. Then the majority of these were abandoned, and there are now only 14 working wells. The names of the wells are very suggestive. They include the Hollow Tree Well, the Rough Tree Well, the Root Well, and the Tree Branch Russell Well.
Reenfaan ammoo horiin diqqaaf guddaa yoo ammoo qabaatu diqqaaf guddaa sun yabbiyyeen dura dhuddee loon gurguddoon itti aanan akkasiin dhugan.
They have been doing this since the reset. Same walls. They may have been doing it before the reset because that's the reset wall. Oh, it's not only the man that's in charge because his great-great-great-grandfather was in charge and now he's in charge. These men have all been doing it and their relatives did it because, hey, mom and dad said this is what we do. We protect the water. We sing. We make the water into music. All day.
No one working at the well can be paid for this work. Not even the Arbor Erriger can receive any money. However, in return for his work, he may be
Look, he's got a donated shirt. They donated him a ripped shirt. He's happy to have it.
Given presents, such as livestock, clothes, or other items.
Wanni akka bittaa gurgura ka bisaan irra bitatanii jirtu. Waan jaalaltii loon gaala wayaallee walii bitanii akkasiin nam sunii kennuu hin danda'anii wanni akka gurgura ammoo hin jirtu. Akka gurgura.
Hojiin abbaa herreegaa loonee hojja isaan dhufan dheebuu itti matan malee akkasumas dhufanii loonee hin dhuganii nama hojjannee sitti ni miniyyuu dhuguyyuu hin jiru.
How about a life that is slowed down to this pace? Because you want to live. You want to have a place to go home to with your wife and have 2 children go, "Hi, Dad." You'll do anything for one more day.
Injiralle. Nafi namaa ammoo guyyaa sun irra dheefee qaba guyyaa sun irra danda'a. Guyyaa sun laftilleen loonleen dhangaa qabanii loon keessaa soor qaba loon kallee jibbiin qabu.
Everywhere is like you in your life today. You're working, it's diminished, but what are your options?
And difficult to cover the cost of fuel. The motorized wells cannot replace the traditional wells, which are based on the Borana's centuries-old rules and on which the real autonomy of this people is dependent.
It's centuries old, as in 3, because Satan was released about 315 years ago. There's 20 more. They're not going to be easy. Let's get our mind around that.
Kan akka aadaa kaantiin qabatu. Akka horii akka eelii akka gillii takka dhuunfaa takka horii nam tokkootti yoo illu kan akkasii ilaale aadaa ta'an sodaata. Namni motorii dhugu kan aadaa akkasii ilaale. Nalleetiyyumaa ta'e qofa. Looni yoo cuftee egeree motorii deebi'an eeliin badaa'e. Eeli baduu dhowwanii am loon eelii irra dhowwan.
Water is life. God is life. The water of life. It's behind me when you see my picture. Kashmir, I suggest everyone right now start scouring all of your thrift stores for anything made of cashmere. And if they say it's $15, pay the $15. Don't go, this other wool thing is only $6. Get something that's going to keep you warm. Cashmere wool is only obtained from these cashmere goats. It's in the desert, but it will keep you warm. It has the hydroscopic fiber. It's going to be a thing. Cashmere is a thing. Cashmere is not only a song by the band Led Zeppelin. We did look at these people. They have not changed since the 1800s till today. A chilling story.
In Indonesia, anti-communist riots shake the country.
The violence took place in different ways across Indonesia. In general, it moved west and then towards the east, across the island of Java, the most populous island in the country, but then arriving in Bali, which probably experienced the most horrific violence and the largest number of people killed compared to
The United States started this war while Vietnam was going on. And yet they decided to focus on the fact that, hey, there's a war in Vietnam where 56,000 Americans were killed and a bunch wounded. And in the meantime,
total population. So we think that probably at least 5% of the population of Bali was killed in 1965 and 1966. And this mass murder not only made the emergence of a tourist industry on this beautiful island possible, the victims are still often buried on the sand underneath the buried hotels where Australian surfers or American eco-tourists are staying and sipping on coconuts, right? So this history is quite literally buried in this part of the world. They still are finding bones in the sand, just feet away from where people are posing for Instagram bikini shots.
look, there was an Operation Product. The Dutch military didn't have a de jure republic in Indonesia. They were, in fact, ruling by force and power. But they had to go, oh, people aren't going to like this in the New World Order, so we're going to have to change it into a tourist town. All right, so we had to kill 1 million people. They don't care. They really don't care. And the Jakarta method is, it's documented. Mass killings, the political left, the CIA did it while they were making banana republics around the world so that we could do it today. Now, this might seem unusual. How many battles did the United States actually fight on the ground, not from airplanes or a boat? Location, campaign, U.S. casualties. It's starting. There was a sea war in 1941. That's before us. Somehow, 18,000 sailors and merchant seamen were killed. Wow. The North African campaign, that Operation Torch doesn't seem like a lot. The Allied won. Okay. 1943. This is the first real. I want to note Vichy France, because Vichy France was basically Nazis. They were run by the Nazis, in control of the part of France that had been taken over. The first time the United States got mixed up in the ground on a battle was 1943. It was late 1941 when Pearl Harbor happened. By February 1943, United States soldiers were fighting in the Tanzania campaign. Not too many people were killed. It's a tragedy. February, March, same thing, in Africa, fighting Germany and Italy. It's hard because Vichy France was there too. So not a lot of fighting. Started it really basically say 1942 because we were attacked and it had some skirmishes on the sea. But on the ground, it went from 43 to 44, still an Italian campaign. Then Anzio in January of 44. This is a war is wrapping up here. And supposedly they already knew Germany was going to lose. They overextended. So they started planning for D-Day. Not a lot of fighting in World War II, except after when they said, now we've got to go clean up the towns and surround them. Germany is going to be divided. Berlin is going to be divided into 4. June. These all happened at Operation Overlord. Okay, 32 were killed that day. 17 were executed. It doesn't make sense. There weren't any. These are all the battles. The Siegfried Line campaign. Where is all of this? Our world is an explanation of how World War II changed everything. There's hours and hours, hundreds of TV shows, and it was wrapped up in less than 3 years with really only the Soviet Union and China taking 30 million and the rest, like 100,000 or so because we had to feed the beast. And then it basically was over by this time. They had children fighting for Germany. The military history of the United States. I just thought, well, are those chemtrails from a propeller plane? Well, what's causing this? Those flying fortresses. The same people that did break the strike of the protesting soldiers ended up running our world in World War II because it was an armistice. This is a joke. Jimmy Doolittle, saved by John Birch in China. General Eisenhower. The people, like I said, let's take a rabbit trail. General Eisenhower, very early, became involved in it. The Expeditionary Forces, achieved 5-star rank from Abilene. Of course, he was a West Point graduate, 1915. Let's see, we'll just keep going down here. I'm going to check this. World War I. between the wars, here's where we're going to go. So he's a captain. He's the one that went on the Intercontinental Army convoy. That was the first time when they decided, wow, there are no roads from New York to San Francisco in our country. In 1919, they took a little trip and it took months to go across the United States. And Eisenhower was one of the people that was on it. And that's what, he learned how to handle adversity. Get stuck, you just get it out. He became their expert in tank warfare by 1922. Now, where is the bonus march? Now, the bonus march, they didn't get paid their World War I promised money, the veterans, and the inflation from the Great Depression would have made it not worth any money. So they were protesting, saying, you know what? We fought and we suffered in World War I, and now you're not taking care of us. You need to take care of us. And so the Army used Eisenhower and Patton to kill some of them, tear up their homes, and say, you can't protest this. No, they didn't pay the bonus. And it took a special kind of person to stand up and say, we're not going to pay it. Those were people who died. And it wasn't only in Washington, D.C., where the bonus people said, you owe us money. But they didn't care. So Douglas MacArthur was there, but he was the chief of staff, so he didn't want to be the one to give the order. So I guess Eisenhower or George Patton or those guys did it. So they get into the origin of the bonuses. They were paid throughout the history of the United States. There is some citation lacking, but they didn't want to pay it after World War I. They called it Hooverville, named after the president, because people were protesting, you didn't live up to your promises. But anyway, it was Eisenhower and those guys who's, when it came time to take your tanks in there and tear down the bonus army's Hooverville, they did it. Douglas MacArthur said, you know what? Tear it down. 3rd Cavalry led by Patton. Eisenhower was there. He was in on it. He served as one of MacArthur's junior aides. Believing it was wrong for the Army's highest ranking officer to lead an action against fellow Americans, he strongly advised the general, don't you do it. I told that dumb son of a bitch not to go down there. I told him it was no place for the chief of staff. Despite his misgivings, Eisenhower wrote the Army's official incident report, and he ended up not calling him a dumb son of a bitch. He ended up endorsing it, saying the best thing we could do was tear it down, send them on their way, and tell them no bonus for you. Vichy France, the Vichy regime. Well, they want to soft sell it. The people in Paris even were lining up when the Germans got there to prove they were pure white. The other French and the other parts, they didn't get that chance, but they became occupied. And it basically, when we went to war in Africa, it was with the French as our allies. So they didn't really want to fight the Germans, because the Germans had said, hey, look, we have 1 million of your people hostage. And if you're killing us in Africa, we're just going to kill your people in France. That's their story. Their story is a lie. The only things that make sense is that we live on a flat earth nation with the golden age past, and the Lord broke that news to the world starting in 2016 with that channel, Flat Earth Nation, Golden Age Past. And it's Bible world. We need to do is we could go back. If you join me late, go back and study. We have the book of Malachi. We have scripture that doesn't include anything but what's in scripture. We don't need this Atlantis-driven apocryphal acceptance of like the Bible can only be interpreted by the Book of Mormon or the Book of Enoch. Those are totally going against everything the Bible stands for. Don't add or take to what's scripture. The stones are crying out. The rocks are body parts of titans. The gold, silver, and precious stone are in them because the Bible teaches it's in us, and that we can't take any treasure with us when we die and go to heaven unless it's built up in our heart. He gives us talents. He gives us ability, and to serve our Father, if we are called, chosen, and elect, then we accept the suffering that will bring. We understand we're not going to make the world great again. We're going to be looked at as fools. People who aren't psychologically awake enough to realize, no, you need this vaccine, or your lack of taking the vaccine will hurt me. So we're going to have to kill you if you don't take it. And they'll run away. And we'll hide, and they'll look for us. And some will hide so well when the judgment is ended and the great white throne starts in 20 years, you'll still be alive. And you'll be saved as if by fire? Well, that fire didn't hurt Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and it won't hurt you. You'll be found as one of that blessed second resurrection, who, like those of the first resurrection, didn't take the mark of the beast, didn't buy into the fact that it's not God, that we've got to accept the Trinity, that evolution's true, the Noahide laws. We should accept the Mormons and the Catholics because we don't believe in separation anymore. It's not the way it's going to go down if you want to be saved on this flat earth nation, with its 1,000 years added to the history, so that your orphan trained brain can be easily confused. Stay with the Bible. Stay with the scripture and your conscience that tells you the scripture is true, knowing it's a flat earth nation, golden age past, mud flood was Armageddon, and that me and my friends will never tell you anything else, because we know we've made that decision. We must have been called, elected, chosen, and we will be saved if we are faithful to the end. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakamain. Some of the languages we'll know in heaven.